Hi, this is Alix Paultre with Aspen Core, and I'm here with my friend Sujit Bannerjee. He's with Littelfuse, and well, we're here at the PCIM show, and we've got some interesting things to talk about, don't we?
Absolutely.
Well, welcome to the show, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome to you too, to our booth.
I always like coming by.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you here.
Well, SIlicon Carbide. Why bandgap semiconductors? We've been talking about it and belaboring the point literally for years. And now at the show, everyone's got SIlicon Carbide. Even if they don't have SIlicon Carbide, they've got SIlicon Carbide. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of different partnerships, all sorts of stuff. But one thing is for sure, right? SIlicon Carbide is here, and it's here to stay today. And we are ramping up, all of us, definitely.
Well, and that brings some questions to my mind. Littelfuse has been known as an infrastructure company, making a lot of the stuff that's behind a lot of the stuff. This is moving things a little towards the pointier end of the spear, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So we are going to be in the forefront of this technology. So you're absolutely right. Littelfuse believes in making things. We like to do partnerships also, but we believe that we should have the control on the core technology, and that's why Littelfuse decided to, get hold of Monolith, which brings the silicon carbide technology, get hold of IXIS, which brings the packaging technology, and then bring the whole thing together so that we can be in the forefront and lead this whole revolution of silicon carbide. Absolutely.
So you own the entire chain in your product?
Yes, we do.
What about the silicon carbide itself from Monolith?
Yes. So what we do is, so we don't, in today's world, it's a little different compared to, we don't own the sand, of course. So we do buy silicon carbide substrates from vendors. So we buy silicon carbide substrates with the epitaxial layers, but then it's our technology, our design, from that point onwards, that we get manufactured in a fab there, and then after that, we do the testing, the assembly, but when we go and work with customers, we own the customer relation, so we take the entire responsibility with the customer, so we are a one-stop shop for the customer.
Do you have any examples here of some of the devices that...
Absolutely, but you're getting into dangerous area. I can keep on talking for 6 hours, so
I'll keep you short, don't worry, it's okay. But yeah, let's take a look at what we have here.
Sure, I will start with a MOSFET and the diode. So those are the most key components in a power converter. So you can see here that this is a TO2 MOSFET in a TO247 there. This is a 1200 volt MOSFET. This is a 1700 volt MOSFET. Here we have an example of a 1200 volt diode. So in our portfolio, we are going all the way from 650 volt to 1700 volt in different combinations of MOSFETs, diodes, and packages. So one key thing with silicon carbide is that it switches very fast. So you need to develop new kind of packages. And that's where the IXIS piece really comes in handy very well. So you can see that there are some of these packages here. For example, this particular package, it's a TO268 high voltage. This package has very high creepage, which is ideal, but it is also surface mount. Mm-hmm. So this combination of surface mount and high creepage is ideal for an industrial customer needing a high voltage and in a very rugged MOSFET there. So that's a perfect example of that. There are other example is this SMPD package, which I think is going to be a real winner because this allows very low inductance within a half bridge. And then with two MOSFETs, you cannot take it out, unfortunately. Okay. You'll have to zoom it in. So within a package, you can have two MOSFETs. You can also have an NTC, which makes the thermal protection. So essentially, within this tiny package, you can deliver 10 kilowatts with all the things that you need. That with silicon, you would need a honking big module earlier. So that is the strength of bringing the monolith silicon carbide technology with the IXIS packaging within the Littelfuse umbrella.
Very nice, Sujit. Now, you answered some of the questions already, but what I'm thinking is, are there any application spaces that you specifically are targeting, or you're just going to silver bullet everybody?
No, I mean, all applications are different, right? I mean, so that's what Littelfuse does. If you see some of the videos here, Littelfuse has a strength of not only silicon carbide and semiconductor, it also has a lot of strength with fuses, with protection technology, with the industrial customer base.
The infrastructure.
Entire infrastructure, absolutely, and automotive, right? So what we are going to do is that we are going to take some target applications and then show to customers that we can serve their needs entirely, that we can help them with not only the components, but with even the system level design itself. That's our goal there. So some of the initial applications we are going after right now, one is solar inverter, Solar inverter, I've heard a few times that the solar electrons are more expensive than normal electrons, but essentially solar energy is a really hot bet for silicon carbide because there they can really take advantage of the high switching frequencies and the advantages that you get from silicon carbide. The other applications where there's a huge amount of work going on right now is electric vehicles. The whole charging infrastructure and also the onboard charger there. But of course the holy grail is the traction inverter, which it will take some time, maybe 3 to 5 years, but that's where in the long run, things will go in the traction inverter electric vehicle. So going back, solar inverter, basically renewable, and the entire electric vehicle industry. And then, as the cost comes down, it will go more into just, UPS,
Industrial robotics.
Robotics and all that stuff. But that's a lot more cost sensitive, and that will happen as the cost comes down.
Very cool. One last question, because I know you can answer that one a long time, but I want to answer it. What kind of support are you offering? I mean, this is going to require some redesign. It's going to require a lot of skull sweat to get this to be optimal, which means they're going to want to pick up a phone and get an FAE.
Absolutely. So, if you get a chance, that's the reason I would really like to go to the other side of this kiosk and show what we are doing, if possible.
So we can walk the camera around.
Yes.
Here we go. Come on, we can do it.
Because I'm really proud of this. I'm really glad you asked the question. So you can see that.
Yes, very nice. I'm glad we did come around. For this.
It's a lot more to show something than my words or PowerPoint presentation, right? So what we are doing is we are giving customers the tools of working with the silicon carbide, but this is we understand this is a challenging technology. So what we are doing is this is a board we have designed where you can really use silicon carbide and characterize the device in detail and understand what the switching losses are, what the transients are, and how you use it. This is another board that we have done with which it works in a continuous mode, and that's where the partnership is becomes very important, right? So we own the silicon carbide technology, we own some of the gate drivers, but we are also partnering with other people who are strong in other technologies like, in microcontrollers or some of the other chips in the surrounding board that we may not have today. So we are partnering with them, inductors, with Worth Electronics, with Texas Instruments. Together with them, we have built this solar inverter. This is a 10 kilowatt solar inverter with industry-leading performance of 99% efficiency, working at 50 kilohertz. And that shows the power of partnership between Littelfuse, with Texas Instruments, and with Worth Electronics together, all of us. So all these are available to customers. They can take this as reference design, and this can be the starting point of their entire design going forward.
Excellent. And they can just go to the Littelfuse website and get that.
Go to the Littelfuse website and get all this information from them.
Sujit, I really appreciate it.
You,
I mean, Sujit, I really am so glad because we always have a fun time talking.
Yep. Thank you. Glad to be here.